Sony has made their first ever update for one of their G Master lens, the 70-200 f2.8 Mark II. In my opinion, the Mark I is a pretty great lens and I have very few complaints about it. If I had to find fault with the first gen, the only issues to me were the weight and the price. It seems like with the Mark II, they have resolved at least one of the issues along with many other upgrades which we will explore further in this video. If you guys are new to this channel, do consider subscribing for more of such content in the future. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bernard and welcome to the channel. If you're contemplating which 70-200 f2.8 to get for your Sony camera, you're watching the right video. I will be doing a comparison of the Mark II to the Mark I to see precisely what the upgrades are and if the extra cost is worth it. I would like to give a shout out to Camera Rental Center Singapore for making this video possible. They have very kindly loaned me this lens for me to make this review. But as usual, this is not a sponsored video and my thoughts will not be influenced in any way. So with the disclaimer done, let's take a look at both these lenses. For my reviews, I tend to focus on real-world scenarios and user experience, and this video is no exception. Before I show you some sample images, the first obvious upgrade I want to talk about is the weight savings on this new lens. Weighing only 1045 grams, this is an amazing engineering marvel, and it is 435 grams lighter than the Mark I. The weight savings alone is a pretty good reason to get a Mark II over the Mark I. But don't worry, you're getting more than that for your money. Let's take a look at what they are. One of the things that was claimed is that the image quality has improved. Cropping in, you can see that the Mark II lens indeed produces sharper images. However, the difference is negligible to me and only visible when you crop in. Previously, we were looking at images shot at 70mm. Now, we will look at images shot at 200mm. This time, the difference seems much more apparent, but I personally feel that the Mark I delivers amazing image quality as well. Now that we have established that the Mark II indeed produces better image quality, let's move on to the next test. Another claimed improvement is that the autofocus speed is 4 times faster than a previous model and tracking performance is 30% better. For this test, I wanted to see how either lens performs when I'm traveling towards the camera at fast speeds. I was moving at about 20 km per hour on my bicycle. Autofocus area was set to wide, burst rate set to high, and I'm using the A7 III. As you can see, there are quite a few photos out of focus. I repeated the same thing with the Mark II lens and was absolutely blown away by the results. Every single photo was in focus. I expected it to perform slightly better than the Mark I, but it was significantly more accurate. I wanted to be sure of my results, so I gave it another go, this time at a tighter focal length. Once again, with the Mark I lens, a couple of photos were out of focus. After switching over to the Mark II, it delivered amazing results and every photo was in focus. To conclude this segment, the Mark II lens indeed has significantly better autofocus performance. The next two things I'm testing are more video-centric, and it'll be on focus breathing and manual focusing. Looking at manual focusing first, Sony claims that the new lens has linear response manual focus. From the testing I did, manual focus was indeed linear and it was very easy to do repeated focus pulls. The Mark I isn't that far off, but you can see that when I tried to do repeated focusing, it was not always in focus. Also, I did find the focus ring on the Mark II to be smoother and more pleasant to use. If you're someone that uses manual focus often, I would lean towards the Mark II. Now, we will look at focus breathing. Sony states that the new lens technology will reduce focus breathing. I used to find the focus breathing on the Mark I acceptable. However, after looking at the footage from the Mark II, I can see how it has drastically improved, and I can't help but notice the focus breathing on the Mark I now. This is really important for videographers because focus breathing can get very distracting. Another upgrade to the Mark II is the additional lens control. With added buttons like full-time DMF and aperture ring, it definitely adds flexibility when it comes to operating the lens. Another improvement to this lens is the close focusing distance and magnification ratio. The Mark II lens has a close focusing distance of 0.4 to 0.82 meters, which is a great improvement from the 0.96 meters on the Mark I. The magnification ratio is also improved from 0.25 times to 0.3 times. On the telephoto end of the lens, there is a difference, but it is negligible. However, on the wider end, the difference is drastic. However, I'm not sure how useful this would be in a practical setting, because how often will you be that close to a subject at 70 mm? The last thing I want to test is claimed in a couple of YouTube reviews, but it is not officially stated on Sony website, which is why I'm a little skeptical about it and saved it for the last. I've seen a couple of YouTubers say that this lens is parfocal, which means the lens stays in focus even when the focal length is changed. From the looks of it, it does seem pretty parfocal. Looking at the shots from Mark I, it seems like it is parfocal as well. Therefore, I don't think that this is an upgrade on the Mark II. Now that I've shared the results from all the tests, I would like to give my recommendation. The Mark II is indeed an upgrade to the Mark I in many aspects. The biggest benefits to me is the weight savings, better autofocus performance, and less focus breathing. If you can afford it, you should definitely go for that. So where does that leave the Mark I? Is it irrelevant now? For people who have been wanting to add a 70 to 200 to their kit but have been unable to do so because it is so expensive, I would say that now is a good time. From what I've seen so far, you can probably get a good deal buying second-hand, as the others are selling theirs to upgrade. For me, it's not a matter of if I would upgrade, but a matter of when. I can't wait to ease the load off my back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. That's it for today, it's a wrap!